Welcome to Missouri Field. Bowling Green with their final Bowling Green softball, I should say, with their final conference game of the season and the second leg of a doubleheader against the Miami Redhawks here at Missouri Field. Ben Korak here with Henry Costco from the Falcon Media Sports Network. Just had the first game, a 10-4 loss for the Falcons in Falcon Radio, which Bowling Green baseball going on right now. Coyle Withrow, Noah Seeley on the call. Bowling Green versus Findlay, trying to get another win. Kind of weird to have, a D2 opponent this late in the season, but Bowling Green baseball playing that game on Falcon Radio. Henry, that first game, 10-4 Bowling Green loss. What did you see as the big takeaways from that game?
Well, we saw some good offensive performances from a couple of Falcons. Addie Martin earned her first multi-hit game in about a month, 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs, earned a homer and an RBI single in that game. Delaney Davis also had a pretty good game, 2 for 2 with a walk, and Ava McKee, Hannah Hunt, who had her first homer, I believe it was a couple months, since March 6th?
March 7th.
March 7th, yeah. So good game for all of those, but overall kind of a tough loss. Pitching I don't think it was, really the score tells the whole tale.
Yeah.
Game kind of got away from them at the end. Scarlett Anderson was kind of let to just kind of suffer there, was brought in with bases loaded, and, eventually brought out to bring Mackenzie Krafchick back in the game, who had not a bad outing, all things considered, kind of got let down by her field, 6 runs, but only one of them earned. Kind of tells the story of that. 70 pitches in her outing. Morgan Beckham also threw an inning and a third with 1 earned run. So some good things to take away, but I think the Falcons will be hungry for their this win here in Game 2 with maybe a little bit more of a chance.
Yeah, I think that pitching staff definitely is something to focus on because, you take away the unearned runs, which was 5 for Mackenzie Krafchick that she earned. It's a 5-4 ball game, and we feel a lot differently about how they played against the top 4 team in the MAC, but besides that, it was up to 10-4. So what are you going to do there? The offense can't be expected to score 11 runs game in, game out. We are going to see a different pitcher for the Falcons today. We're going to see Sydney Marshall. Sydney Marshall, a 6.76 ERA, 2-6 on the season, and her about 40 innings pitched, a pretty high batting average against, but she's been doing pretty well lately, has had a couple of bad outings, but more good than bad, I'd say.
Yeah, I think she might have a little bit of a short leash, especially early, and especially with not a lot of work from Morgan Beckham in Game 1. I think she'll probably be the backup there in this game. But last couple outings for Sydney Marshall, 5 1/3 with 8 earned runs against Toledo, which is a number that is, again, a little bit inflated.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of was good through the first 4 innings. There had the 5th inning that kind of got away from her, the 5th and the 6th. Before that, 2 1/3 with 4 earned runs against Central Michigan, but inning scoreless against Ohio, and that outing, and 5 scoreless against Western, and 4 scoreless against Ball State in those outings here at Missouri Field. So she's had some tough times on the road, but been good here at home, it seems like.
Yeah, you mentioned those last 2 appearances, 7 2/3 innings, 12 earned runs combined, and then in the 4 appearances previous 12 innings pitched, but only 3 earned runs. There were a couple of starts in there as well. She's been pretty good lately. She's got a lot of good stuff, similar to what we see from Morgan Beckham. Maybe throws a little bit harder as well. So power might be a big factor from Miami, which we saw in that last game, especially from Shelby Kunkel, who's batting leadoff. She had 2 hits, 2 home runs. One was a solo shot. The other one was a 2-run home run. She was absolutely great in the first game. She's going to lead off again today. Kaylee O also had a good game, the left fielder, and batting second for Miami. Jenna Golombeski is going to move up in the lineup. A couple of just a little bit of a different look for Miami, but why change what ain't broke? They had a very good offense in the last game, and they're going to continue to do that today and advance to 17 wins in MAC play.
Yeah, 3 hitters with multi-hit games, and 6 players got on the board with hits overall, with Campbell also earning walks. So they got on base pretty well in the last game. And, this offense has been rolling, especially, coming off of a tough offensive series against Ohio, where they kind of ran into some of the top pitching in the conference with Skip Miller and Anna Wise over there in Athens. And they're coming in and, they came in kind of a revenge mode after that sweep. And then after the loss against Purdue earlier in the week as well, they've just come in and are kind of putting it to Bowling Green. But, we saw this team, kind of got blown out when they played OU in the doubleheader a couple weeks ago here at Missouri Field. They got blown out a little bit in Game 1. But Game 2 was a lot closer, and they really had a lot more of a shot in that game. And was about, 1 or 2 hits away from pulling it out in the end there. So we'll see if we see a similar theme in this game, for sure.
Yeah, we are going to see a different pitcher for Miami. It's going to be Leah Chevrier. Leah Chevrier, a 4.63 ERA, better than Sydney Marshall. She's the inferior, I'd say, of the two pitchers for Miami, but certainly not inferior at all. She's still been very good on the season. She's got 100 innings pitched to Madeline Reeves' 200, understandably, but a pretty good strikeout-to-walk ratio, pretty good batting average against. Just a step behind Reeves, more hittable for the Falcons, but that's going to be another aspect of the game that Bowling Green's going to have to work. The Falcons taking the field currently. Henry, do you want to walk us through the Miami of Ohio batting lineup?
Yeah, for sure. Shelby Kunkel, who had those 2 home runs in Game 1, leads it off in right field. Kaylee O playing left field will hit second with Chloe Parks and McKenna Campbell hitting third and fourth. Ella Carter play at the DP spot, hitting in the fifth spot. Jenna Golembeski, so that's a tough one there, hitting center field. Holly Merritt and hitting seventh with Aaron Pinter and Denitza Hernandez rounding out that lineup with, of course, Leah Chevrier in the circle.
Yeah, I'm going to take the easier lineup to read. Hannah Hunt, Addie Martin, Taylor Barrett batting the top 3 for Bowling Green. Cam Kaufman, who's on a pretty good hot spell. She's batting 4th. Ava McKee is going to move up to 5th with Kendall Matthews dropping down to 6th. And then rounding out the order is Peyton Steffes, Hannah Massaro, and Delaney Davis. Davis, the designated hitter. You mentioned a 2 for 2 in the last game with a run. She hit very well, a bunt single, and then a nice line drive single to get things going. In the bottom of the 7th, didn't end up scoring any runs, but she certainly set up Bowling Green for some good things. Now we're going to lead off the game with Sydney Marshall pitching to Shelby Kunkel, who again had her 2 home runs last game. A very dangerous hitter for the Red Hawks. High fastball hit the umpire in the mask, just got by Ava McKee.
Tough start for home plate umpire Brian Howard.
Yeah.
Looks like
ball was humming, though. I mean, that was probably the fastest pitch you've seen all day.
Yeah, Sydney Marshall not afraid of throwing the velocity, and that's that solid off speed that she's been kind of developing throughout the year. Zanesville, Ohio native, attended John Glenn High School.
Another fastball up high. I think there's a John Glenn High School in every state.
It seems
I
like
know there's one back home in Michigan. I know there's one in Illinois and Indiana, as we've seen a couple of high schoolers through all the broadcasts we've done this year. 2-0 from Sydney Marshall. Outside, she misses the zone for ball 3. 3-0 count. Over on Falcon Radio, you can hear Coyle Withrow and Noah Seeley call BG versus Findlay, D2 opponent for the Falcons, and a midweek one at that. Findlay currently leads 2-1 over the Falcons, but pretty early. We're at the bottom of the 3rd inning, so a long way to go in that game for Bowling Green to try and come back. 3-1 now after a strike thrown by Sydney Marshall.
Yeah, I mean, interesting. We can talk about this all we want. I don't think it's really worth noting on too much, but D2 opponent this far in the season is just kind of odd. But big series coming up for the Falcons with the Battle of I-75 this weekend in the 5th-3rd game coming up on Friday night.
Yeah, and it just, as Sydney Marshall looks to have had the wrong card, so they're switching it out here. So she's getting the right call. She's been a little bit miscommunicating with Ava McKee. 3-1 count. Yeah, it's the nice thing about the softball schedule, considering 1, it ends earlier, 2, there's less very non-conference opponents. Like there's one thing playing Notre Dame, it's a different thing playing a D2 opponent in Findlay, or sticking to the D1 realm seems to be a lot more competitive. 3-1 swing and a miss by Kunkel.
Good pitch there by Marshall. You can see Kunkel having a little bit of a hard time catching up to the velocity high fastballs. A lot of bread and butter for Marshall. She finds a lot of strikeouts there with that pitch. Goes back to it.
Full count, fouled out. Goes back outside fastball. She's really hucking it. Throwing it very hard, trying to attack. And for a team that benefits off of power, she's furnishing a lot of the power, so you don't have to worry about it too much. But it is much harder to make contact. This one sliced foul again. She's very late in the left-handed batter's box.
You mentioned the power that this team produces. 62 home runs in the season now, leads the MAC by almost 15. 62. Yeah. Second place is Ball State with 49, so well and beyond the leaders there.
Payoff pitch, first at-bat of the game for either team, and it's a walk given to Kunkel, so she'll take first base with Kaylee O stepping up. Very good at-bat.
Yeah, that was less of maybe, Marshall didn't really have any command issues. That was more just Kunkel fighting through that at-bat. Fouling off a couple of pitches, and
it was a good at bat pitching wise, just to come back from 3-0 count and make it as competitive as she did.
508 on base percentage for Kunkel. That's her 34th walk of the year, so she does that a lot.
Strike one. Caught the belt high and outside to the right-handed swinging Kaleo. Made a good amount of plays in the outfield. The left fielders have been busy today for both sides. Kendall Matthews certainly being one. She made a lot of plays in the last game. Another one, swing and a miss. McKee throws down to second. This one way wide. Hannah Hunt will pick it up toward the second base side of the bag. It'll be a stolen base for Shelby Kunkel.
13 stolen base on the year. McKee didn't even have a chance. Just a great jump by Kunkel, and not a pitch that you can really throw over on from McKee.
You mentioned the left fielders. Kendall Matthews, 6 putouts and an assist playing left field. Unbelievable number. And left fielder for Miami had a couple in her own right. This one sliced down the first base line is going to fall fair. Rounding third, heading home is Kunkel. The throw's going to go to second base, trying to put the tag on, but she slides around it. Cam Kaufman not able to get the tag down. It's going to be an RBI double for Kaleo.
Quick start for the Redhawks. That one just kind of found the hole right by the foul line there on the right field side. Oh, had a good game in game one. Continues her streak here in game two.
And another one just well placed, not really too hard of contact.
Yeah.
Which is something that you can look positively.
Next up, this is second baseman number 4, Chloe Parks.
Missed the barrel a little bit more, and you would have had a pop out to the infield. Chloe Parks up to the plate, takes the ball outside. Parks went 0 for 3 in the last game. 1 RBI, though, on a sac fly. A couple of plays in the infield as well, but pretty absent for a player that's top 3 hitter on the team for Miami. 1-0 pitch outside. Struggling to find the zone a little bit. Fell 3-0 in the first at-bat. Kaleo got ahead of Sydney Marshall as well, and now Chloe Parks ahead in the count 2-0.
Yeah, Marshall is just going to need to continue to throw strikes. We can't see the same thing that we saw game one with some control issues.
Ground ball to the second baseman. Hannah Hunt will flip over to first, get the out. Runner advances to third. 2 outs.
A good play by Hunt to make that happen. Runner moves over to third, but not too much harm done. The play brings up Campbell. Campbell went 0 for 3 in game one with a walk.
Now batting, this is catcher number 00, McKenna Campbell.
McKenna Campbell. 00 is such a cool number. And we talk about uniforms a good amount. So here's a ball low. Don't talk about the cool numbers.
Yeah, 00 is it's pretty much the pinnacle of what you can get. I think that's kind of the number one request you always get. It's either 007 is a common one.
Yeah.
I feel like number 1 is kind of, you would assume, but not really.
The line drive single up the middle. McKenna Campbell will get run in. That's a RBI base hit for the catcher, bringing up Ella Carter.
Well, productive start for the Redhawks. 2 hits and 2 runs. Going to come out and talk to Marshall and calm her down here early on. Ella Carter, talk about jersey numbers, number 87 on Ella Carter.
Yeah. 88 for Danitza Hernandez, too. I will say, I think, middle infield should stick to a lower number. I think single digit for a quarterback feels right. Single digit for middle infield, I think works out very well.
I think it should typically be leaders of a team should have lower numbers, which you usually do see that. But in the case of Madeline Reeves is number 72. Which, sure, she's just a sophomore.
Yeah.
Kunkel is number 17.
Yeah. In Major League Athletics as well, higher numbers, like pitchers especially tend to bounce around teams a little bit more than other players. So it makes sense that they would have higher numbers.
Yeah.
But, shortstop, second baseman, catcher seem to be mainstays of the team. Catcher, I think 13 is the perfect catcher number.
I think so too.
I feel like that's as perfect as you can get for a position and a number. I do like how in football certain numbers coordinate to certain positions. I think that's really cool.
Not really anymore in the NFL though. You can kind of choose whatever number you want nowadays.
Yeah, I wish they would go back to certain numbers. Sydney Marshall gets a talking to from Michelle Gardner. But first pitch that she throws after the mound visit is outside for ball 1. Runner on first 1 out. Already 2 runs scored for Miami at the top of the first inning. 1-0, sliced back into the netting behind home plate. Ella Carter. 1 for 2 last game of the run. Hit by pitch twice as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a 3-game hit streak going into this series and continued with a hit last game. Looking to make it 5 in this game.
1-1 pitch. Caught the inside corner for strike 2.
Good pitch by Marshall. He's settle in here. Kind of gotten off to a rough start just in terms of, only 2 hits, a walk, but already it's 2-0 Red Hawks.
So trying to work that lower part of the zone. Just missed it low there. Possibly trying to get a taller player like Ella Carter to ground out. We have McKenna Campbell, the catcher, on first base. Not the fleetest of foot. Try and twist a double play here.
It depends on the umpire, but sometimes you can get calls on these taller pitchers low in the zone.
There's a ground ball to Cam Kaufman. They're going to get the force out at second base, and she takes one off the face, I believe. Oh, that was a hard skipping ground ball, and it rode up in on her face. So we're going to get another walkout for Bowling Green to try and make sure that the player's okay.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
never fun.
Yeah, maybe she had sunglasses on. That might have been more of the pain that's coming. Although also startling, if nothing else, when you get hit in the face by the ball.
Right. That was a pretty hard hit.
Yeah.
Ground ball there to short. And that's the kind of thing you're not really thinking about. When it comes up on you, it can really be a shock, especially when you're trying to make the play. A little bit of luck there that it bounced right towards there at second, so they were able to get the out. They're talking it through. Hopefully she's able to stay in the game here. Cameron Kaufman dealt with injury earlier in the year. Came back at the NIU series about a month ago. Has had a really good week. Sends 4 for 4 against Toledo. Good hit. Game 1 of this series went 1 for 3.
Might also be good here to, give Sydney Marshall a little bit of a rest. Let her think about what she's doing, settle down. Still got a runner on first. Jenna Golombeski is one of the more dangerous hitters out of either of these teams. Batting lower in the lineup, but still 17 home runs on the season. Kaufman still getting attended to behind the second base bag. Still hoping that she's okay.
We'll see if walking back towards fellow teammates here, Martin and Hunt, looks like she'll stay in the game.
Be okay. A little bit shaken up.
Tough through it.
Sometimes those ground balls that kind of ride the dirt, scoop up on you at the last second.
Sometimes playing with, after that happens, especially like the first inning, kind of gives you a little bit of anger. You're kind of playing, with your mind's woken up a little bit. So sometimes that can really help you out, especially if it's not something that's too debilitating.
Yeah. That, in our careers of watching baseball, softball, how many errors have we seen that are rolling right along the ground the whole way and just skip at the last second? Here's a pop fly, infield, playable for Ava McKee, or the third baseman, actually, Addie Martin, who calls it. 1 pitch, 1 out after the long injury timeout that we had. But 2 runs scored in the top of the first inning for Miami. BG will try and answer in the bottom. You're listening to BGSU Softball on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Actress Allison Sweeney for American Humane.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring and humane world for all of us.
BGSU Baseball plays the annual 5th third game against Toledo on Friday, May 2nd. Join Falcon Media Sports Network's Tyler Kavalitz and Chaz McNeil beginning at 6:45 for pregame and 7 p.m. for first pitch on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Hannah Hunt, Addie Martin, and Taylor Barrett to lead things off for Bowling Green. They trail 2 in the bottom of the first inning. 2 runs on 2 hits, 1 walk, and 1 left on base for the Red Hawks in that top part of the inning. And we're going to see the first pitches from a new pitcher for Miami, only the second pitcher of the game, even though Bowling Green's gone through 4 now.
Yeah, Leah Chevrier, 4.63 ERA on the year, 15 games started, 93 and 2/3 innings. One of 2 pitchers that have really carried pretty much 95% of the weight for the Red Hawks this year. Completely different approach to pitching than the Bowling Green Falcons have, who rely kind of on a rotation of 4 or 5 pitchers. Red Hawks just kind of rely on the 2.
Chevrier puts the first pitch outside. That's the second one now, lifted in the air to left field. Kaylee O under it, and we'll put Hannah Hunt back to the bench. Quick out.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I'm looking for with this Falcon offense is just consistency. I mean, we see typically in these games, against these good opponents, you see 1 or 2 good innings. It's usually first 2 or 3 innings, and then or one of those innings in the first 3, they score 3 or 4, but they kind of fall off towards the end of this game. So you're just kind of looking for consistency and then being able to earn hits, especially at the end of this game, not allow teams to maybe come back or teams to grow the lead exponentially in the end of the game.
Martin takes outside. Yeah, we talked in the previous game on Falcon Radio. It's just a swing and a miss to Addie Martin 1-1 about the splits for Bowling Green or the run differentials throughout the season. The Falcons lead or are pretty competitive in the first couple of innings. A lot of runs scored in the first 3 innings. Then it kind of dries up towards when it gets later in the game for both the Falcon offense and the teams in general. Well, we saw that in the last game as well. The majority of the runs were scored, 3rd, 4th inning, and then after that, pretty much nothing, not able to get back on the board.
Yeah.
Chevrier, a 2-1 count now to Addie Martin with 1 out, no runners on. This pitch paints the knee-high strike. 2-2 count.
In Game 1, Martin struck out in her first at-bat, but homered in her second and singled in her third. We'll see a similar theme here today.
Fouls it off. Good defensive swing, too close to take. A lot of very nice at-bats from Bowling Green hitters today and very nice defensive swings as well, lengthening at-bats. Sometimes not ending the way you'd want either, but extending is just as good. 2-2 off speed above the belt. Martin lets it go. So it's up to a full count with 1 out.
Especially Addie Martin is pretty good at just fouling a couple of pitches off, especially outside of the zone and kind of finding her pitch, where she likes ones that are more inside middle.
There's an off-speed outside and swing and a miss. Martin strikes out, brings up Taylor Barrett with 2 outs.
Last couple times out for Chevrier, she's had a pretty good time past couple weeks. Scoreless inning thrown against Purdue, and then 3 innings of 1 earned ball, followed up by 6 innings of 3 earned ball in 2 games against OU, and 5 scoreless innings at home against Akron on April 15th. That's her last 4 outings.
Chevrier puts a strike on the black outside. Certainly not a bad option either way for Miami.
Yeah.
Barrett shows bunt, leaves it outside. And we mentioned in the pregame as well that, maybe before the game started off air, that Madeline Reeves has started 7 times, two games of a weekend series. Yep. 2 of the 3 games she started 7 times this year. Line back up the middle over the head of Chevrier, and Barrett's going to take first base on a comebacker single.
Those are tricky.
Chevrier got a haircut up there.
Those are scary because they wear those helmets up there for a reason. Cause that's 40 feet in the circle of the play. Those things come at you fast. Chevrier just kind of put her glove up, hoping that wasn't going to come her way.
I think she was more ducking out of the way, understandably, for sure.
Yeah, the old ducking.
I don't think they
glove.
could see what you just did there, but I think you forgot we're on radio here. It's okay. Kaufman takes up and away. I do that sometimes.
I'm more just doing it for my own enjoyment.
Yeah. I get told all the time I have a face for radio, and I take that and run with it,
I don't get it.
You don't get it? Swing and a miss inside. Face for radio meaning nobody sees you. Therefore, it's better that you're behind the radio because nobody has to
so that's
look
like
at
an
you.
insult?
Yes.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
I have a face for TV.
Really? I don't agree.
Wow.
It's okay. 1-1 pitch with 2 outs. Catches the inside corner. Chevrier with a 1-2 count to Cam Kaufman. Runner on first base. It's Taylor Barrett. Special thank you as well to Lucas Kleinmeyer, who board opted our first game, Falcon Radio, currently still for Bowling Green Baseball, and Nate Hinters, who's board operating this game. Kaufman fouls this one into the screen. How about them board ops, Henry? All year.
Yeah, I mean,
Fantastic.
I've only board opped one game. I don't think I've done my fair share this year. So I really respect, especially Nate and Artie, Holden. Holden's going to be doing a bunch of games over the summer, which is a big thing because doing those broadcasts over the summer is kind of a privilege that we, we didn't have a lot past couple of years, but with the involvement that we've been getting from students past couple of years, we have people who are local that can come in and board up when needed. So we really appreciate that also.
Foul back into the screen, a 1-2 count. Also, shout out to Nate. I don't know what his official title is, but he's pretty much going to be running Falcon Radio next year as a student director of it. Ground ball to third base. It's mishandled by Aaron Pinter, and it's out into the outfield. It's probably going to be an E5 on the Red Hawk third baseman. Now first and second for the Falcons.
I would think so. You know what they say? They say get in front of it, and Pinter didn't really do that. Just kind of stuck a glove out, hoping it was going to fall in.
That was a Matador Ole if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, so that's going to get Kaufman on base and bring up Ava McKee, who had a nice double in game one, had a pretty solid game. He's been a solid player, I think, earning hits, wherever she can find him, ground balls through gaps, and putting up solid at-bats as a freshman, which is the big thing you want to see, regardless of the numbers or the output.
She's moved up in the order pretty consistently toward the beginning of her play this season. She was around the 7-8 spot, and she's been there a lot of the season, worked her way up at certain times. A 1 pitch from Chevrier fouled off into the dugout of Miami.
She's one of those players that I'm excited to see develop through next couple of years under Coach Michelle Gardner. It's going to be fun to see improvements.
A lot of young players that have very high potentials.
Yeah.
Talked about the pitching staff before, but even in the lineup, as there's a strike 3 looking to McKee, it's a drop third, but the throw to first from Campbell will get it. We'll talk about the youth of the Falcon lineup, or the outfield. This is going to be in a second when Miami grabs their bats. 2-0 Miami leads after an inning complete. You're listening to BGSU Softball on WBGU 88.1 FM.
BGSU men's basketball guard Javante Campbell made a game-winning layup against Toledo with 1.6 seconds remaining on February 21st, 2025, giving BG their first win at Savage Arena since 2021. Falcon Media Sports Network's Tyler Kavelitz had the call of the shot on Falcon Radio.
It's Campbell with the ball, driving inside, layup's no good, rebounded by Exact, the putback's no good, Johnson fights for it, it's kicked back out to Exact, inside to Campbell, Campbell puts the layup, it goes with 1.6 seconds remaining. Javante Campbell with the huge shot, possible shot of the year for Bowling Green. They take the lead with 1.6 seconds remaining over Toledo, 69-68.
This has been a Falcon Media Sports Network featured call.
Back here at Missouri Field, bottom 3 in the Miami Red Hawk batting order coming up at the top of the second inning. Henry, we mentioned a little bit in the bottom of the first after Bowling Green was heading out. 1 hit, 2 runners left on base, no runs scored for the Falcons. Just the youth of this team and even in the field as well. You've got Addie Martin at third base, Cam Kaufman at short, both underclassmen. Hannah Hunt's got another year, Taylor Barrett with another year. Yep. Some pretty good youth in the outfield, too. Steph is a sophomore. Massaro, a freshman in center.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things about this team that kind of sets them apart. I mean, 3 seniors alone in the Miami lineup, not a single senior in the lineup for the Falcons. Scarlett Anderson really the only contributing senior for them this season. And, I mean, 2 freshmen in the lineup right now, 3 sophomores. Barrett, hitting 308 as a sophomore, that's something that you don't really think about too much. He still has 2 more years to improve. Peyton Steffes is sophomore also. Cameron Kaufman, sophomore. So 2 more years to see how these players are going to develop. And I think they've both, all 3 of them, honestly, have made fantastic steps forward in this year compared to their freshman year.
2-0 pitch from Marshall catches the corner, 2-1 the count now. And even we mentioned in the last game, the young pitchers, Morgan Beckham, who's been pretty consistent, pretty good most of the season. Sydney Marshall, who's coming into a little bit of her own the back half of the year. 2-1 pitch outside, 3-1 now. But put into a lot of prime situations or difficult situations as well for Bowling Green in their first year, is only setting them up for success as well later on in their careers. Morgan Beckham's got a lot of relief appearances. Marshall's got a lot of starts, but she's been left in there to work out of trouble a lot of times.
Yeah.
High drop ball is swung on and missed by Holly Merritt, who's got a full count now, so the payoff pitch coming.
I mean, although the offense has been considerably more productive than last year, 228 team average last year, 268. This year, the pitchers are, they're put in a lot of tough situations. Like you mentioned, they pitch through a lot of tough innings with not a lot of run support. We've seen that happen with Kenzie Kravchuk in a lot of her outings where she, can get through 6 innings of 3 earned ball, but sometimes that's just not enough against, some of these top MAC teams like Miami, like Central, like Ohio that they've been playing the past couple of weeks.
Swing and a miss by Merritt. She sits down swinging. Erin Pinter will step up to the plate in the first strikeout of the game for the freshman Sydney Marshall. And even coming into this year from last year, we only had, as you and I, new beats this year, newly covering BGSU softball, that we only had a beat on how Kim Kaufman was going to perform, and even that we were pretty decently far off because she's batting 50 points ahead, and that's one of the lower ends of the increase from last year to this year.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody else is pretty much new to us.
Right. Yeah, Kaufman's been one of those players that's really progressed and improved throughout the year. We've seen a couple of players. I mean, Katie Hutter had a solid couple of months. She's had kind of struggled the past couple of weeks, but we've seen these players, obviously either improve or stay consistent, which we've seen like Hunt, Martin, Barrett have all stayed consistent above 300 and played good defense in the infield as well.
2 quick strikes for Sydney Marshall, who's ahead in the count. This one sliced foul, but swinging from her heels is Erin Pinter. Marshall's starting to look real good in this second inning. Already has a strikeout now way ahead of the count, 0-2, and Pinter had a defensive swing in the last. Danitza Hernandez batting 9th, the shortstop. She's up on deck. This one lifted in the air to center field. It's out of the reach of Hannah Massaro, and now rounding first, heading to second is Pinter. Pinter will get there on an 0-2 double to right center field.
Yeah, I don't think he should have said anything.
No,
I was a little bit early on the call.
I knocked on wood, but
there, Ben. But yeah, RBI double or not an RBI double, just normal double for Pinter. 1 for 3 with an RBI in game 1. She finger guns to the dugout, second base. I don't understand why that's funny, Ben.
I don't know either. 2-0 Miami leads. Runner on second, 1 out. First offering to Hernandez is called strike. I just can't believe I jinxed that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's how it goes sometimes. That's how the cookie crumbles.
I'll tell guard after the game's over. That was my bad. Completely on me. 0-1 delivery from Marshall. This one, soft line drive into center field. Misreading it is Pinter at second base. She's going to be held up at third. She got a good jump on it. She might have been able to score. But she turned her back to the plate to see if it was going to fall or not. And a little bit of a late jump.
Yeah, I think she probably could have gone. Didn't really have to wait for it to drop. I don't think there was too much of a chance that anyone was going to get to that. Just one of those things, maybe you could say inexperience as a sophomore, but I don't really think that's those things. Just maybe a miscue.
Just sometimes just didn't have just thought it was something when it wasn't. 1 out, ground ball to Taylor Barrett at first base. She fumbles it. Nobody covered first anyway, so they weren't going to get the play. And it was a very cheap single.
Yeah, good spot. I talked about that. It happened a lot in game 1 where weak hits in the right spot are better than, hard line drives or ground balls in the infield sometimes. That was the case. Barrett had to kind of backhand it, and it's kind of an awkward play, especially when you're indecisive of where you're going to go with the ball. So brings the third runner in for the Red Hawks, 3-0.
1 out and 2 runners on. That was Shelby Gankel that had that ground ball. Weak contact single. But she's reached base both times she's batted today. Kylie O had a double in the first inning, also scored a run. She's up the plate now for the Red Hawks with 1 out. Still trying to add to the lead. It's 3-0 now for Miami. BG in their final MAC game of the season. Unfortunately eliminated from MAC contention, but a win and a half coming into this year, knowing that within the last 2 weeks you were still competing. And going into the Toledo series, you needed to win out, but you were still had a chance to make it. That's already improvement. Pop fly out to just wide of the press box.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a really big fan. I think I would rather have the tough opponents at the beginning of the year rather than play Buffalo, Kent at the beginning of the year and then have to play teams like Miami and OU in the year, because you want to end the season on a good note, especially when you're in the position as a program like Bowling Green is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's interesting. I'll wait till after this pitch to make my statement. 1-2 pitch from Marshall, line in the air to center field. Hannah Massaro is going to have to chase it onto the track. Rounding third, coming home is the runner from first, Gankel, and she'll score. It's going to be a bases clearing double for Kylie O, her second double of the game. It'll give Miami a 5-0 lead and put Mackenzie Kraftsick on the mound for Sydney Marshall.
Yeah, I mean, just tough for Marshall. Just line drives placed in the right spots for Miami, and 3 hits in this inning, 2 in the first, which have led to 5 runs, 6 total for the Red Hawks. Kraftsick threw in game 1, threw in 2 separate appearances actually. In total, there was 4 2/3 with 1 earned run on 6 total runs, 5 of them being unearned. No walks, 2 strikeouts, and 7 hits on 70 pitches. So we'll see how much of a leash she has. I think we'll probably try to get out of the gym and maybe get 1 more before you bring in someone else.
I mean, in the 4 pitchers we've seen today, we've seen pretty much the entire game-to-game arsenal that the Falcons have. Yeah. Mackenzie Kraftsick probably pitched the best. She's got 6 runs, as you mentioned, but only 1 earned. Morgan Beckham was having struggles finding the zone. She had earned run and 1 1/3. Scarlett Anderson had 3 earned runs in an inning pitched, and now Sydney Marshall has got 5 earned runs in her inning and a third of work. So Kraftsick's probably the best option that the Falcons have. Looks like Morgan Beckham's walking back out. Looks like Olivia Roth maybe with her.
Yeah, Roth is also an option. She's seen some innings past couple of weeks. I think we'll probably go from Kraftsick and Beckham, and I think Coach Gardner will probably hope that those 2 can get the rest of the way here today.
Chloe Parks up, grounded out to Hannah Hunt in the first inning. She's got a runner on second and 1 out. You know, 1 out rally for these Red Hawks. I just
realized I can't say Coach Gardner because they're both Coach Gardner, both Coach M. Gardner, Michelle Gardner for the Falcons, and Mandy Gardner.
Both
Colgate.
pitched for Michigan in their collegiate career as well. Yeah. Coach Gardner Colgate is the head coach for Miami in her first year. It's fantastic what she's done with her team in their first year. Granted, and a lot of changes to the roster as well. And we mentioned, here's the 1-1 pitch from Kraftsick. We mentioned that last year there was only 2 starters in the lineup that were on the team both last year and this year. Barrett takes care of a ground ball to first base for out number 2. But to go from an entirely new roster, essentially.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, Gardner Colgate has made the full kind of west to east road trip. You know, started at least in her coaching career, started at UC San Diego as an assistant coach. Grand Canyon also was a spot where she coached, and then was the assistant coach and recruiting coordinator at Iowa before coming here.
This one driven in the air to left field. It'll be an RBI single for McKenna Campbell. She'll get Kaylee Owen and a 6-0 lead for Miami with 2 outs in the top of the second inning.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of a slow burn, I guess. A lot of line drive singles. I mean, that's the second single of this inning. 2 doubles as well have kind of been a problem for the Falcons here.
This one popped up. Gonna hear a clink, I think. Oh, yep, there you go.
Ooh.
Oh.
Good thing that I have breaking glass over there.
Bleachers are taking a beating. 0-1 on a shallow foul ball. 2 outs still. Runner on first base. Ella Carter up. Hit by pitch twice in the last game. Lifts this one in the air. Deep center field. Hannah Massaro back on the warning track. She'll make the catch and bring the Falcons back in. They'll have to put some offense up on the board because 2 runs in the first for Miami, 4 runs in the second for Miami. They lead 6-0 through 1.5 innings of play. You're listening to BGSU Softball on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Actress Allison Sweeney for American Humane.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring and humane world for all of us.
Are you a fan of BG Falcon Media and the Falcon Media Sports Network? You can show your support for BGSU Student Media by donating at the bottom of the page of stories on bgfalconmedia.com.
Back here in Missouri Field, a 6-0 lead for Miami in the final game of the MAC season for Bowling Green, the final home game of the MAC season as well. They play Notre Dame in South Bend, Indiana tomorrow, and then come back home for Robert Morris this weekend. Henry will be on the call all 3 games. I'll join him on Friday, and he will have a lone broadcast for the final one of the season. You're going to hear his voice a lot.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad due to your RA duties.
Yep.
You're going to be leaving me all alone here, but I'm sure I'll man the studio the best I can here at Messer Field.
It's only fair you left me earlier in the year as well. I believe a midweek game.
I had an excuse for that, though. I was feeling rather under the weather that week.
A job doesn't count.
No, this is your job.
Chevrier 1-1. Swing and a miss. Kendall Matthews down 1-2 in the count. She has been behind in the count almost every at-bat today. Had 3 strikeouts in the first game. First time striking out all 3 times in the orange and brown this season.
Yeah, we saw her get moved down in the order after the first game, and after she was moved up to 5th, where she was kind of hitting 8th or 9th most of the season leading up to this past kind of week or so.
Confident leave on the 1-2 for 2-2. Clouds kind of rolled in here to Bowling Green. Wind's blowing a little bit harder, a little bit cooler because the sun's not out. Lifted high in the air. That's a major league pop-up down the left field line, and it's Kaylee O. It's going to make the play in foul territory.
That's what they call a can of corn out there in left field. Kaylee O makes the good play. So 1 down. Nia Chevrier, maybe shades of Madeline Reeves. Not too much trouble here early on. First.
No, 1 single.
And a 3rd.
Reaching on an error as well. First inning, that's the only struggle they've really had so far.
I think pitching with a 6-run cushion is also going to help our confidence out a lot. Freshman, Canadian freshman out of St. Lazare, Quebec. Attended Bourget College. No, that's not a college. It's actually a high school, I think.
Bunt fouled back from Peyton Steffes. Yeah, I would imagine, considering her eligibility, would be affected. Probably collegiate prep school.
That's probably what it is, yeah.
Wonder if she played hockey.
Yeah, transfer from Florida Southwestern State. Won a quick NJCAA National Championship. Decided, I'll bring it to D1.
1-1 pitch from Chevrier catches the outside.
Chance to win a MAC championship here with the Red Hawks.
What crazy climate shock is that going from Quebec to Florida, then the Miami of Ohio?
Just took a quick vacation down there.
Yeah.
For a year.
A vacation where she was absolutely unbelievably good.
You know, I wonder what she thought of doing that, because I feel like you go to Florida for the first time and it's like, oh, it's so humid. What is this? It's not even really like you like the heat, especially if you go in the summer.
Yeah. Pop fly out, playable for the catcher, McKenna Campbell. She puts it away. Peyton Steffes will get a P2, bring up Hannah Massaro with 2 outs. Yeah, we mentioned Florida Southwestern State, which is a crazy name for a school as well. But in her 2 years, 38-3, 258 in the third innings pitched, 1.9 ERA, sub-2 ERA through 258 innings pitched, and 261 strikeouts, over a strikeout per inning in her career with Florida Southwestern State. That is a Texas leaguer if I've ever seen one. Hannah Massaro drops a single in the center field. Brings up Delaney Davis.
Good to see Massaro get on base. Had a tough first game.
Yeah.
The old bloop single. Always does the trick. Gets her on the board for the day. You know, I wonder if, this Miami pitcher is rooted on the Canadians. Quebec native. They're playing tonight.
The Canadians.
Game 5 against the Capitals. They have a big comeback to
they're
work
not
on
going to
themselves. Never say never.
They're not going to do it.
And Ottawa beat Toronto 4-0 last night.
It's the Battle of Toronto right there.
No,
not the Battle of Toronto.
No, it's the Battle of or Ontario.
Ontario, yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking Ed didn't say it. 1-0. Drive right up the middle. Delaney Davis gets a single. Back-to-back singles for the Falcons, and Massaro advances to second. Weak contact, but sometimes it's better to place him in the right spot rather than hit it hard. Brings up the top of the order with 2 on and 2 out.
Delaney Davis, kind of the queen of weak contact, has had a fantastic day. We reached base every at-bat in Game 1. Sends that one right towards Chevrier there. At pitcher circle, gets it through. 2 on, 2 out for the top of the lineup.
I mean, and taking advantage of the whole infield playing in as well.
Yeah.
All she had to do was get it past that ring of infielders.
That's the benefit. You know, you question sometimes that kind of slap hitting approach where you're kind of running at the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
That's the benefit of it. You know, you have more control over where you send it.
0-1 pitch. Hannah Hunt drives it in to right field and playable for Kunkel out there in right. Might be your first play of the game, actually. Not too many balls going out there to right field, but the Falcons do not score in the bottom of the second inning. We head to the top of the third, and Miami will pick up the bats with a 6-0 lead. You're listening to BGSU Softball on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Time now for your WBGU Community Calendar. Every Friday at 8 a.m. through May 16th, it's the Friday morning birding with the Bowling Green Parks and Recreation. Each hike will last up to an hour and a half, and no pre-registration is required. Coming up on the weekend of May 12th, the Bowling Green Museum will be hosting Early Ohio on the Portage. This is a free reenactment portraying life during the exploration of the Northwest Territory and the Ohio country, especially near the Portage River. And happening on Saturday, May 3rd, it's the Spring Fling Family Dance Party from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Bowling Green Community Center. This is an event for families with children ages 3 to 12 and is an evening of music, dancing, and interactive fun. Registration is available in person at the Community Center or online. I'm Nate. Let's look at what's happening around the community here on WBGU.
You just heard from Nate Hinners, our board operator today. Ben Korak with Henry Costco from the Falcon Media Sports Network. Henry, we've got a 6-0 lead for Miami into the third inning. Not the start the Falcons would want it, but they can get Mackenzie Kraftsick going and start holding Miami off the board, start chipping away at this lead.
Yeah, check swing there. First strike one. Kraftsick just kind of needs to settle in, get some innings down, scoreless innings after Marshall had a tough go.
Yeah.
Allowed 2 in the first, 4 in the second. No better pitcher to put in for the situation for the Falcons than McKenzie.
4 runs on 5 hits, 1 runner left on base in the top of the second inning for Miami. They're 16-7 in the MAC. This is a big win for them, too, to advance to 17. All the seeding matters. They were predicted to finish second in the MAC in the coaches poll preseason, although did not get a vote to win. Ohio was the clear favorite in both winning and getting to. This one is a fly ball out to left center field. It'll drop down on the warning track. Fielded by Massaro and thrown in. It's a double for Jenna Golombeski.
Yeah, well, she's now, I believe, 2 for 34 in the past couple of weeks, and kind of the drought that she's had. Good for her to get on board with another hit. She was, at the top of most of the MAC statistics in terms of average OPS, the first couple of months of the season, but lately has kind of dropped off. Still is the MAC leader in home runs, 17.
Her OPS still respectable. She's above 1,000, I believe. She's actually 1.001, if my math is correct, before today's game, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I've watched a document. I can't remember I watched it, maybe a year ago. I watched a documentary about the science of the slump and how, you can really kind of just if you allow yourself to focus on the negative, you can completely change your mechanics and just kind of unlearn a whole bunch of things that you learned over past years due to a really bad slump like that. And that can really affect hitters, especially at the collegiate level, with so much pressure that you have on yourself to perform.
Yeah.
It can be tough for those players.
One of my here's a ground ball to Hannah Hunt at second base. She snaps it, throws over to first, gets the out. Runner advances to third, so 1 out. And a runner on third for Aaron Pinter. That'll come up. I heard a quote the other day. One of my favorite ones, actually, is from Pete Rose, who said, your swing got you to the major leagues. If you're in a slump, the only thing you should do is move forward or back in the box or choke up or choke down on the bat. I thought that was really interesting to think, not to say that they're perfect by any means, but their swing did get them to D1 college softball.
Yeah.
And how much of that has value, that the swing isn't the problem, maybe just the mentality or the certain things that are very easy to control.
Yeah, a lot of the time, you can just start thinking about it too much. That's part of it. When you're so hyper aware, especially when you keep, if you have like 2 bad games, you're thinking, oh, I keep doing this. It's a problem.
Bunt laid down, throw to the plate. Addie Martin thought the runner was going, but Golombeski stayed. Nobody is coming second. Now they are. It's going to be a.
No, that's just a.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be an error. They didn't really try to make a play, so. Yeah, I don't think they were.
Yeah, I think Addie Martin thought the runner was going, so she flipped it to McKee at home to try and get the runner.
It would have been a tough play at first. I think they probably would have got her, but then you risk, maybe something
you might have let
the
run in
first. Yeah.
Barron was ready.
The double play is in order.
Hannah Hunt was ready. Pop out is center field. Hannah Massaro tracking in. Runner does not tag. The throw was on the money. Beautiful throw by Hannah Massaro in center.
Massaro.
She is fantastic out there. Hard to believe she wouldn't start next season in center field.
Yeah, I mean, all she needs to do is just get a little bit more comfortable at the plate, and she'll be an extremely productive player. If there was war in the MLB in defensive war and defensive runs saved, I think she would be up there for the Falcons, the defensive runs saved. Played a lot of left also this year, and I think the change over to center field, I think you had a statistic earlier that showed that was actually pretty positive for her, like 1 error.
Yeah, only 1 error since she's moved to center field. She did play first base for a while, which in my opinion was a little bit of a waste. This here's a ball low to the top of the order, and Shelby Kunkel was a little bit of a waste considering how quick she is and how much of a good arm she is to stick her at first base. She didn't do too well either, playing out of position. I would be willing to lay money she didn't play any first base in high school.
She played shortstop, I know, third base, pretty much all around the outfield.
Third base, outfield,
first.
All very different. I mean, for how quote-unquote easy it is to play first base, it is very different from every other position. There isn't another one like it.
It is.
It's a very tough thing to pick up on the fly, especially trying to scoop, especially in softball when the throws are all short.
It's tougher in softball than it is in baseball for sure.
2-0, throws cut off. Hannah Hunt will cut it off in front, but the runner will score. Golombeski will come around. Pretty much just a straight steal, and the Falcons just gave it to him.
Shouldn't have thrown over, even though they did. They did cut it off early. Golombeski still read it, and when it went, the second that the ball was released from McKee's hand.
Yeah,
it's good awareness, but McKee should have just held on to it, especially with 2 outs.
Now runner on second, 2 outs. Yeah, the runner stealing second really doesn't matter if you get the batter.
No.
The focus should have most assuredly been there. Now a 7-0 lead for Miami. 8 hits already for the Red Hawks, only 3 for Bowling Green, and they haven't scored. Kratzik's pitch is fouled back into the screen by Kunkel.
Run roll is something that Falcons are going to have to keep in mind. 8 after 5. We're 7-0 in the top of the third right now.
Both games played last year between the Falcons and the Red Hawks were run rules, one in the fifth, one in the sixth. 2-2 pitch. Called strike three. Got her looking on the inside. Takes the bats out of the hands of Miami. They get one, and it's a 7-0 lead after 2.5 frames of play. And it's just, we'll stick with you through this break. And it's just, something that the pitching staff has just struggled a little bit as of the last couple of games. And a 7-0 lead through 3 innings of play. There's some things that they could control, some things they couldn't. City Marshall just really didn't have it today. Kind of similar with Scarlett Anderson in the first game, an inning pitched and 3 earned runs at the end of the game, just not her day.
Yeah, it's one of those situations. It's at the end of the year. You can sit here and say the games don't matter, but, really they do. They matter for the psychology of the team. They matter for Gardner in terms of her recruiting and all that sort of stuff that, you don't really think about for a program. But this loss will bring them to 7-19, team that's 10th out of 11 teams now in the MAC. So, it's hard to put a positive twist on it. Yeah, for sure.
There's, Gardner's talked about that before. The amount of fight that they have, especially in the first game, didn't quit. They were still making, diving plays, throwing their bodies on the line down, 9-4, 10-4, stuff like that. And while they haven't been able to put too much together in the form of wins, especially, there was good things to see at the start of MAC play. They've competed against a lot of top teams in the MAC as well. They had 5 two-score games against current playoff teams.
They swept Kent State.
They swept Kent State. Could have taken care of business against Buffalo, but they were playing out of position on the infield, and a single error in 2 of the games took a sweep away from them. First pitch strike from Chevrier.
Yeah, I think the high of this team was definitely the taking 2 out of 3 from Western. There's a team that's, they're down 9th in the MAC now, but, that's the team you're coming in. That's a team that they wouldn't, compete against last year, and taking 2 out of 3 from them was a big deal for them, for sure.
Another strike from Chevrier on the outside. Addie Martin at the plate for the Falcons. Then Taylor Barrett. Then Cam Kaufman way outside. 1-2. But, yeah, that stretch there at the beginning of MAC play, we actually talked about this before. I meant to again, covering volleyball as well. They had the difficult part of their schedule early and then got into an easier part the back half of the year. Series low and away 2-2. And it made the back half of the year really easy, but then when they got into the MAC tournament, they hadn't played a great team in a while. Yeah. And they caught a really great team in Western Michigan and ended up losing at home, and that even though they were pretty starkly favored. 2-2 pitch, fouled back into the screen.
Yeah, going into MAC play, the team had momentum, too. You had the Oklahoma games, and then the Hoosier Classic was good for this team. You got 2 wins, one against UIC, one against IU Indy. So going in, getting those games out of the way would have been better as opposed to the momentum was good until you got to the OU game, and then after that, or the NIU games after that, it was kind of rough.
Addie Martin wears it and takes first base. On a 2-2 fastball inside that she took first base. So this is an aspect where we don't see a whole lot. But Addie Martin has got speed. She can steal bags. She's 15 for 16 this season on her stolen base attempts. And she doesn't get on base as much as some of the other players on the team, or at least it doesn't seem so. Gets a little bit too far off the throw, and the pickback to first base is late. But yeah, we saw in the 3 teams that I covered, volleyball, very difficult early in the schedule, and then it eased out as it went along. Hockey was pretty spread apart and how hard it was throughout the season, and now softball, you had a very easy start of the schedule, and now a very hard end of the schedule.
Yeah. The MAC softball is not an easy conference, especially this year. There, no. 5 teams at the top. Even 4, Miami, Ball State, Central, OU, and those are the teams that they've played. I'm pretty sure it's been 4 of the last 5 series.
Yeah, something like that. Barrett lifts it down the left field line. It's caught by O, and Martin will have to retreat to first base.
Well, this is an opportunity for the Falcons. Gardner talked about the fight that this team has, and they can put up fight in this game. It's not over. It's still, even if they may not eventually get 7 runs, you can still put up 3, 4, and 5. Maybe get Chevrier out of the game, force them to bring in Madeline Reeves again. Maybe put a scare into the Redhawks late.
This one sliced down the right field line, playable for the second baseman. Chloe Parks will make the catch. 2 quick outs, still a runner on first base. So weak contact for the Falcons, one lifted to left and one down the right field line. You're getting to the point of the game as well where all of the scoring that you've had, I mean, your top 2 scoring innings are the first and the fifth. You're getting toward the fifth now. You're batting in the bottom of the third. But it's where your runs have been a little bit dry this season. And the sixth and the seventh, they've been very dry.
Yeah.
So you got to get some and get you back in the game early, especially so that fighting mentality gets a little bit stronger. 0-1, ground ball to the shortstop. Picked up by Hernandez, thrown to first on the run, and that'll be the inning. Addie Martin with a leadoff hit by pitch on a 2-2 count, but then 3 straight outs for Chevrier. She turns it over to the Red Hawk Bats and the top of the fourth. 7-0, Miami leads on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Hi everybody, I'm Jack Hanna. Since I was a boy, I've been fascinated with animals, especially their tireless work ethic. Just look at birds who gather supplies to build nests, or penguins who travel up to 500 miles to secure food for their families. This work ethic is shared by our best friends, canines who perform life-saving work every day. Dogs comfort returning veterans. They work with diabetics, alerting them when there's a change in their blood chemistry. Working dogs are valuable in many ways. So please join me and American Humane in supporting our heroic working dogs. Go to AmericanHumane.org to learn more.
BG Women's Track and Field heads to Columbus, Ohio for the Jesse Owens Classic on Friday, May 2nd and Saturday, May 3rd. Check out the recap of the event by Falcon Media Sport Network's Artie Abrego on bgfalconmedia.com.
Top of the fourth inning, 7-0 Miami leads. Mackenzie Kratzik back on the mound. She's worked an inning and 2/3 so far, 1 earned run on 2 hits. She's limited the hits, but Miami's been able to string them together. And a lot of their offensive attack, where in the first game when their scoring was dry, they were pulling everything. Now they're kind of spreading it around the field, seeing some singles up the middle, opposite field, some pull side as well. They've really attacked the Falcons in every direction.
Yeah, I mean, the conditions here have changed also. Gone from sunny and not much wind in game one. Wind has picked up just a tiny bit. You see the American flag flying for real out there in center field. Clouds have eclipsed, taken over at Messer Field, kind of the typical look that we see here at Bowling Green in April. Almost May, though. We've seen a few more sunny days. Had some nice 80-degree days here in Bowling Green.
Yep. Only, 7.5 more hours until it's May. Something to that. 2-0 the count is with no outs. Catches the corner for strike one.
You know what they say, Ben.
What do they say, Henry?
April showers bring May flowers.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Or April cold brings.
We haven't had a lot of rain, I feel like, in April. Not as much as normal. No.
Have you had any snow?
I can't jinx it because April's pretty much over, but I think we had snow early on. 2-2.
What, you're gonna bring it a pop-up rain shower.
Nah, these are not rain clouds. I don't know too much, but I know that.
That's one thing to watch out for this weekend, though. It's supposed to rain.
Swinging and a miss, swinging.
Sorry.
Got her on an inside fastball. Henry's talking about rain.
Yeah, sorry.
Kraftsik's bringing the rain.
This is not the Weather Channel.
Down to Kaylee O, sat her down swinging. Chloe Parks. It is kind of the Weather Channel when we're in Bowling Green, and it affects softball. I mean, that series against Ohio, we were calling fly balls to center field as caught by the right fielder. You know, it was just absolutely blisteringly windy outside. You know. This one fouled. Popped up down there.
That was kind of fun, though, because we were up here out of the wind. I'm sure it wasn't fun for anyone who was down there, but yeah, I mean, that was
probably
kind of fun to watch from
them.
up here.
And again, both teams have the same, they have the same disadvantage/advantage. The only thing that you got to know is that BG knows it's coming. They know what the weather is. They know how to play in it. Hannah Hunt flips over to first, but it's too late. Took a second to get it out of her mitt, but Chloe Parks is safe at first. Yeah, looks like she bobbled it a little bit too much.
Couldn't quite get it out of her glove. I don't know. We'll see if that's charged by. I think it's just going to stay a hit. I think that's probably the right call.
Would have been nice to see a glove flip over, although very tough to do.
You can't really do that in softball. Yeah,
I've seen him a couple of times, but it is very tough.
Have you seen that new play that? No, I'll wait for the pitch actually.
First pitch, belt high strike.
Yeah. Have you seen that thing that teams are doing where if you're diving, you flip it to the second baseman and it's like a fake double play. That's pretty cool. I've seen that a couple of times. J.P. Crawford did that for the Mariners.
I do remember that. Yeah. A couple of teams. It's pretty smart actually. Off speed, caught belt high again to McKenna Campbell, the catcher. Singled twice, stranded both times. In her first 2 at bats.
Miami going for that one more run. That would give them the run rule going in these last couple innings.
Yeah. If Chevrier can hold them off. And the way she's pitched, Chevrier is in a pretty good spot to do so. Fouled off. Still an 0-2 count to Kraftsick.
Miami, of course, 16-7 now, ties Central Michigan with their win in Game 1. They'll round out season this weekend against Buffalo, 3 games in Oxford.
This one yanked down the left field line. Oh, that's gone. What a frozen rope from McKenna Campbell. A 2-run shot gives Miami a 9-0 lead.
Oh, and left in a hurry for sure. That makes it 9-0 on 10 hits for these Redhawks here in Game 2.
They have capitalized on every opportunity
No doubt
Falcons
about
have
that.
given.
5th home run on the year for Campbell. That's her 22nd and 23rd RBIs. Should make that, 23 because 0 in Game 1 for her.
Yeah. Ella Carter at the plate now. She's 0 for 2. Fielder's choice in the first to fly out to the center fielder. In the second, a deep fly ball, though. She put a pretty good swing on it.
Carter led her in volleyball in high school. That's a common theme throughout this Red Hawk roster with a lot of these taller players. All of them played basketball, played volleyball, and then played softball, where ultimately they earned their
6
scholarship.
foot. Should be a heck of a hitter. Pretty large person. Kraftsick with a 1-1 count. 1 out, no runners on. Outside for ball 2.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to bring up Michaela Timmons again because she's not even on the field, but that's kind of the staple.
That's what I was thinking as well.
We've seen pictures where we're looking back at those games, and Michaela Timmons is, it seems like she's almost twice the height of some of these players.
This one driven out to center field. Hannah Massaro gives it a chase, but it'll be at the warning track. Tries to throw it in. If she got it all the way to second base, might have had a chance at Ella Carter. It's going to be a 1-out double after the 2-run shot.
Well, Carter will be happy about that one. Extends her hit streak to 5 games.
Golden Besky stepping up now. Update on BG baseball, winning 4-3 over Findlay in the top of the 6th inning. And then Horkey, Gunnar Antillion, and Garrett Wright all with RBIs. Garrett Wright's double scored Antillion and Alex Laird as guard will take a walk out to the mound. And she's going to hand the ball off. Look who's going to – it's Olivia Roth. It's going to come out the bullpen for Bowling Green. The Falcons have pitched 2 pitchers so far. Luke Krause, 4 innings pitched, 2 earned runs on 6 hits, 60 pitches, 5 strikeouts, no walks. Pretty good outing for him. C.J. Boudreau, 2 innings pitched and 1 earned run.
I'm surprised the Falcons. I guess they're not really. I'm surprised they're playing their starters. To be honest, I'm surprised Garrett Wright is in there. I guess he's in right. Yeah. Cooper McKenzie's at the catcher spot.
I'd say they moved some things around though. Tackett's batting down in the lineup. Antillion leading off. Gannon batting kind of high. Zach Horkey has been killing it, batting high.
Yeah.
McKenzie catching. Garrett Wright playing right field. So they moved the that field around a little bit.
Yeah.
And Luke Krause starting and C.J. Boudreau first out of the pen is a pretty big switch up for them.
If you're a big BGSU sports fan, Friday is going to be the day for you. BGSU softball plays at 3 against Robert Morris here at Messer Field, and then you can head over to Fifth Third Field for the big game against Battle of I-75 at Fifth Third Field between Bowling Green and Toledo.
Should be a fun one.
Out that series that weekend.
Baseball pretty much needs to win that series against Toledo.
Toledo's 5th in the conference. Yeah,
that would be a big one to take. Because right now the knock is Olivia Roth is warming up. Now the knock on them is, can you beat those top 4 teams? Which anybody that's been able to watch BG baseball over the last 2 seasons knows that they can. It's just, do they have the pitching to be able to do that? Will their offense be able to get going? Is DJ Newman and Sam Seidel going to come back? Because otherwise, they're in pretty rough stretch there.
Yeah, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but it wasn't very promising when you lose all 3 series to those 4 teams here at Sailor Field, Miami, Kent, and Ball State.
Yeah, certainly doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. It's Olivia Roth in the circle now for Bowling Green, pitching to Golombeski, who doubled and scored in the 3rd inning. First pitch, ball.
2 outings for Roth against the Rockets last weekend. First time out. 2 innings of 2 earned ball. Second time out, no innings of 2 earned ball on, I believe that was 10 total pitches.
Yeah. Last 4 appearances, 5 innings pitched, 10 earned runs on 8 hits. It walks a lot. This one's hammered down the left field line and foul. That's one that you can confidently say fair, it's gone. That was launched. 4 strikeouts and 12 walks in the last 4 appearances for Roth as well. So hitting the zone hasn't been her forte. Although when she does, 4 doubles and a home run. So
Roth, Marion native, attended Elgin High School. Pretty local.
Off speed, belt high, throws a strike.
Marion is like maybe 45 minutes south, if I'm not mistaken.
Thanks for I don't know where Marion is. I'm gonna be honest.
Mr. Michigan.
I'm not from Ohio. I wouldn't stoop that low.
Insulting your own school.
1-2, 1 out. Couldn't be handled by McKee. It bounces away from her. The runner will advance. Ella Carter will move up to third base. So runner on third with 1 out for Golombeski. She's trying to save her first game. Her first game not that great. 1 for 4, a sac fly and a strikeout was her first game. She already got a double and a run. Trying to add some more onto it. Not the greatest season for her. Up to 267 with the last game, or down to, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But that power, you look at 17 home runs for her, 2 doubles, 2 triples. How many of those were inches away from being doubles and triples?
Right.
How many did she hit a double and the wind carried it out? Or and she launches this one deep left field, and Matthews is going to watch it fly over the bullpen for Golombeski. It's a 2-run shot to give Miami an 11-0 lead.
She breaks her homerless streak with that one. Homerless since April 6th. That was a week away from a month. A good day as Miami goes up 11-0. Not a great day for the Falcons, however.
So Olivia Roth has got no runners on and 1 out now to try and work out. She's got 1 earned run off of that swing, a 2-run shot. The other one's going to be given to Kraftzik. Not a great outing in the second game. 2 innings pitched, 4 earned runs on 5 hits. 2 strikeouts, no walks, so she does not have a walk today. But Olivia Roth has yet to record an out. It's got a hit and a earned run. Holly Merritt takes one inside, ball 1.
Merritt now the only Red Hawk in the lineup without a hit in this game. Freshman to join her fellow upperclassmen in the hit column.
1-0 pitch from Roth. Just outside. Good spot. Not missing by a lot. She's also the only one that has not scored a run, Merritt is.
Strikeout in the second. Ground out to third in the third.
McKenna Campbell in the death of the Falcons. 3 for 3, 4 RBIs and a run. This one's fouled off by Merritt. Pinter on deck, Hernandez in the hole, and then top of the order coming back around for Miami.
I think this game proves, especially when Golombeski is hitting well, how deadly this offense is and why they're, at the top of the MAC in a lot of offensive categories.
And obviously we've talked a good deal about how Bowling Green, what Bowling Green needs to do. Obviously we talk a lot about them as there's a strike on the corner, 2-2 count. But Miami, this is a big one for her to make a for them to make a statement.
Right.
not a top team in the MAC. Obviously, Ohio's kind of got that top spot, but MAC softball fans to say, hey, we can do something too. This one's lofted to Cam Kaufman at shortstop. She'll retire Merritt. Aaron Pinter.
This team got swept by the Bobcats when they went there.
Yeah.
Played there last weekend, which, I mean, that's something that they haven't had happen. Miami's been the dominant force in the MAC the past few years. They've won NCAA tournament games back-to-back years. And, Manny Gardner-Colgate, not an easy job to come in and replace Kieran Kumar, who's honestly maybe one of the greatest MAC softball coaches that they've had in the 21st century. I don't think that's a sure thing to say, as she's moved on to greener pastures in Columbus, coaching the Ohio State Buckeyes, who are 14-5, ranked 21st in the country. Having the privilege of having a talent like that, coaching talent like that, reign over your program is something that it lives on for decades. In the university, and Gardner Colgate coming in and has to, in some way, kind of reproduce that sort of production.
The 0-1 is outside. And just dispelling anybody that would say, it's still the previous coach's players. You look at the lineup that has almost completely changed from last year to this year. So not only is she mimicking the success, she's doing it with, in part or in majority, her own players, which is equally or even more as impressive.
The other part is, a lot of sophomores, though, you might say, the sophomores were recruited. Like Kumar Kaylee O transferred from Oregon State.
Yeah.
Ella Carter transferred from Indiana. Denza Hernandez transferred from Phoenix College.
Fly ball out and dropped by Matthews. Matthews could have put away the inning, but she dropped it on a basket catch in shallow left field. Again, I think that was more how deep she was playing, but she pulled her eyes up at the last second and let the ball drop.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see if that's registered as an error or not, but it just kind of overran it in the end, kind of put the glove out a little too far, hit her on the inside of the forearm.
I think it is going to be an error.
E7.
It's going to be a two-base error as well. So it looks like we are going to have a pinch hitter, and it's Carrie Kruger, sophomore, another pretty big body, Jerseyville, Illinois native.
Yeah, since 5'8", attended Jersey Community High School. 2022 NFCA Softball Region 5 second team member.
Carrie Kruger maybe going to go in at shortstop. Denitza Hernandez is there right now. And she promptly singles one up the middle. Massaro will have to field, but the runner's going to score. Anyway, she'll hold the runner at first. It's 12-0 Miami after a current 5-run inning.
That is the 8th RBI of the year for Kruger, 55 at-bats. Make that 12 hits in those at-bats. Puts her batting average up over 200 now.
So Miami's batted around. Kunkel is back up. She's the last batter to have not hit in the fourth inning. On the top of the fourth, 5 runs scored by Miami. Up and in from Olivia Roth.
They almost hit around in the second inning as well. It was only Golembeski who didn't hit in that inning.
Scored at least a run per inning. 1 run in the third was the lowest scoring. 2 in the first, 4 in the second, 5 now in the fourth, as this one's driven down the first baseline foul.
This is a statement for the Red Hawks, straight up. I mean, I think the Falcons have competed with. They almost beat Ohio 1 or 2 hits away from beating them here at Messer Field. They competed against Central as well. So, I mean, Miami's going to be a dangerous force going towards the end of the MAC tournament. I'm sure that's going to be a big watch for all softball fans. OU, Ball State, Miami, who ends up prevailing and making the NCAA tournament. All 3 of those teams are definitely deserving between all the talent on Ball State. Ella Whitney and Timmons, the 2 stars, and Skip Miller and Anna Wise. The pitching of Ohio, of course, is the headline for them with Skip Miller earning a no-hitter yesterday against those Cardinals.
And we've been lucky enough to see, some of the top pitchers in the MAC as well pitch this year. This one's fouled back, a 2-2 count to Shelby Kunkel in the first spot. A hit, a walk, and a strikeout already today. But just looking at the leaders in ERA pitching for the MAC, we've seen Anna Wise, who's number 1. We've seen Skip Miller, who's number 3. We've seen Ella Whitney, who's number 5. Madeline Reeves now, who's 6. Mikey Living from Ohio, number 7.
The Falcons
Macy Walters
put up 4 earned in 2 innings on Living.
Yeah. Mackenzie Kraftsick, currently number 9, who obviously is Bowling Green. Sophia Knight, they saw this last weekend. So many pitchers that the Falcons have played at Missouri Field. So many very good ones that have had to pitch multiple games against them. Full count away. A 2-2 count away.
I'm interested to see. This is another discussion that obviously you have to make is the transfer portal. How many of these players are going to end up leaving? I think Skip Miller is one of those players who's 3-time All-MAC first team now. That's going to be the discussion. Does she stay for her senior year? Does she end up going?
2-2 pitch, lifted out in the air to left field. Kendall Matthews under it and will put a pretty scary top of the 4th inning away. A 12-0 Miami lead after 3.5 innings of work. We'll head into the bottom of the 4th in a minute. BG leading off their side of the scorecard with Matthews, Steffes, and Massaro. You're listening to BGSU Softball on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You could listen to WBGU 88.1 FM, or you could be part of the action. Volunteer with WBGU FM in a variety of roles, including on-air, promotions, social media, music selection, and much more. Positions are always available to students and the local community. For more information, visit the WBGU Facebook page. Volunteer with Northwest Ohio's community radio station, WBGU 88.1 FM. The return to radio freedom.
Matthews, Steffes, Massaro, and Davis, the bottom 4 of the order for Bowling Green, will lead off in the bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-0 Red Hawk lead over the Falcons in the final MAC game of the season. Certainly not what Bowling Green is hoping for when they came into this series, but a competitive first game. The score didn't really reflect how competitive it really was. A couple of errors really costed the Falcons those 6 runs that they lost by. Again, we've seen a lot this year this weekend against these top teams. We've seen a game where they really kind of get blown out. We've seen a game where they really compete.
You mentioned that that one's popped up by Matthews.
Playable for the second baseman, Chloe Parks. Chloe Parks grabs it, puts it away, and retires Kendall Matthews.
You mentioned that, without those 5 unearned runs by Kravchik in Game 1, that would have been a 5-4 game.
Yeah.
It's one of those things to factor into. Of course, errors are part of the game as well. So
Peyton Steffes, the right fielder, popped out to the catcher in her last at-bat in the 2nd inning. Leah Chevrier still dealing. Has got a 1-0 count to Steffes, but she has worked very efficiently so far. No 1-2-3 innings yet, but went 1-2-3 after hitting Addie Martin in the last inning. There's this one fouled off by Steffes.
Look at Miami's, full-on record. They're at 28-23 right now, though they only have 7 of those losses in conference play. They had a pretty tricky non-conference schedule. They played Maryland, Arizona State, Minnesota, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Michigan State, all these teams in, these Power 4 conferences. And, they played them well. Didn't really quite earn, maybe the victories that they were looking for. But, those sort of games, only one team makes it in the MAC tournament and in the MAC regardless usually. So playing those tough schedules, especially as one of the top teams in the MAC, can really have a lot of benefit. We see teams do that in other sports a lot. And, you learn those lessons playing those teams that you can apply, playing actual competition in the MAC.
Just barely hit Steffes, or she walked Steffes. Either one she's going to take. first base with Hannah Massaro coming up, singled in the second inning, advances second, and was stranded there. I remember talking to ex-head coach of Bowling Green volleyball, Daniela Tomic, who's currently at Cincinnati, talking to her about how she felt about their extraordinarily difficult non-conference schedule. And they were really at a rough patch. They were just below 500 through that schedule. She said she really liked it. She liked having tougher competition because it's the way I put a metaphor on it is, swinging a bat with a donut on it. It feels heavier, and then once you take it off, it feels like you could swing it faster. That's almost exactly what BG softball did. It's what BG volleyball did. Hockey did that as well. And kind of the nature of a mid-major school is the majority of teams are going to be better than you, but 0-2 count here to Hannah Massaro.
Yeah, BG
still very valuable.
Schedule as well. They played Wisconsin, Indiana, Oklahoma, obviously. Yeah, I mean, they earned wins against, they had that big win over Tulsa. I think that's the game that's not really talked about enough, that big 9-4 win.
Yeah, that was a big one.
They're in Norman. Tulsa's a very solid American athletic program, above 500 right now.
1-2 pitch, slapped out into center field. Playable for Golombeski, and she'll make a play in center and sit Massaro back down to the bench. Delaney Davis up with a runner on first.
Davis had a fantastic day, not just in this game with her line drive single up the middle in the second, but in game one as well. Reached base in all of her at-bats, 2 for 2 with a walk, including a bunt single. First at-bat, you see the corner infielder is still playing extremely anticipating that bunt or weak contact.
Lets the strike go by, waist high. Yeah, now if you're Bowling Green, you're looking toward the scoreboard. You're trying to get some runs off to avoid the 8 after 5 run rule. Still currently 12-0 with 2 outs, runner on. So you'd need 4 runs in the next 2 half innings.
5 runs. It's 8 after 5.
Yeah, 5 runs to avoid.
Yeah.
The next 2 innings. Chevrier catches the zone again. 1-2 the count.
I mean, talk about ideal situation as a pitcher.
Oh,
pretty much zero pressure whatsoever. Just go out there and throw strikes.
Slaps it foul.
Steffes was going on that pitch.
You really can't ask for much more as a pitcher as far as run support goes.
Yeah, for sure. Steffes 8 for 11 on stolen bases. See if she ends up going again on this pitch from Chevrier.
She does not go when it's fouled off by Lady Davis, who checked her swing. Pretty good intentional fouling off of softballs today for Bowling Green, just protecting the plate. 2-2. Anna Hunt waits on deck. Eddie Martin in the hole. 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th inning. Chevrier deals outside to Delaney Davis. Peyton Steffes will take second base on a pitch that was pretty low. It would have been a tough play for Campbell to try and dig it out from behind the plate and also throw out the runner.
Yeah, good jump for Steffes. Mentioned she was 8 for 11, now 9 for 12. Your second most stolen bases of any Falcon.
So now a single will probably not score a run, considering the outfield playing very in on Delaney Davis. Center fielder way left of, from our point of view, the logo in center field behind second base. Full count, 2 outs, caught the corner, strike 3. Chevrier sits down the Falcons in 3 of the 4 batters. Walked Peyton Steffes. We're at the top of the order coming up for the Falcons in the bottom of the 5th inning. And we're going to have Kaylee O, Chloe Parks, and McKenna Campbell to lead off the top of the 5th inning for Miami. You're listening to BGSU Softball on WBGU 88.1 FM.
If you love them enough to listen to them practice the same song on tuba,
please be done.
Over and over and over and over and over, then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Sounds good, honey.
Check today at NHTSA.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Don't have time to tune into a BGSU sports broadcast? Falcon Media Sports Network will have you covered with live updates of home BGSU athletic events. To follow along, head over to @BG_FMSN on Twitter X.
"12-0, Miami leads in the top of the 5th inning. They will bat with Kaylee O, Chloe Parks, and McKenna Campbell. All of them have got a hit today. Kaylee O with 2, struck out swinging in her last at-bat in the 4th inning. Actually, Miami batted around cleanly in the top of the 4th inning. Got 5 runs of 5 hits. Benefited from 1 error, but only left 1 runner on base. They have not left a lot of runners on base. Actually, 4 total in this game, 1 per inning. Had 7 runners left on base in the last game, even though they scored 10 runs.
Good empty slate here in this inning for Olivia Roth to try and improve.
This one's popped up. Looks like it hit the netting or just wide of it. Nope, hit the netting and bounced down in play. So 0-2.
Just too far for McKee to be able to grab it, put her glove up against the net, but hit the net before it got to her glove. A good opportunity for Roth to try to put up a scoreless inning here, or something of the sort. It's a pitcher that in her sophomore year, you want to see her continue to contribute for this team heading into her final 2 years.
Roth delivers, fouled off by Kaylee O.
Kaylee O, 2 doubles, first and second inning respectively. RBI on the first one, but struck out in the 4th.
Miami, after taking today's win, I don't think that's too far of an assumption. Got a pretty easy slate. Buffalo coming up this weekend. Doubleheader May 3rd, which is Saturday. This one's grounded to Addie Martin at third base, who throws the first, gets the out. 1 out in the inning, and the first one for Olivia Roth. But that's a pretty easy back half of the schedule after a pretty rigorous schedule before that. I mean, they had Central Michigan for 3. At Central Michigan. Then they were at Ball State, both top teams. Then versus Akron, who's currently in the playoffs picture, and at Ohio. So as you mentioned a couple times before, very tough road schedule, very tough schedule, and then they finish with the bottom 2 teams in the MAC.
Yeah, I mean, good for them, all things considered, and they'll be looking at, if they can get this one today, they'll be looking at 20 wins going into the conference tournament.
Yeah.
OU, after their split of Ball State yesterday, they'll take on Western Michigan this weekend. If they can earn at least 2 wins in that series, they'll have firmly solidified the 1 seed in the MAC tournament. Central Michigan, tougher for them. They play in Detroit Mercy right now, but they'll take on at Ball State and Muncie for this weekend.
1-1 pitch from Olivia Roth is lined over to Hannah Hunt at second base. She makes the play and sends Chloe Parks back to the bench. So 1-2, McKenna Campbell will step up. 3 hits today, 3 for 3. Has had the best game of this one of any Miami Red Hawk, although in the last game she went 0 for 3 with 1 walk. Had the most putouts on the team for Miami in the last game as well, although they were all off the 10 strikeouts by Madeline Reeves. First pitch strike from Olivia Roth.
Third multi-hit game in her last 5 conference games. 3 for 4 in Game 3 against OU, 2 for 3 in Game 1. And series also had a hit in each of the Akron games, respectively.
Don't know.
Yeah, a little bit of a stoppage right now.
Yeah, don't know what's going on. Oh, Addie Martin might have got dirt in her eye. He was a trainer, stepped out of the gate, so maybe washing washing some dirt out of her eye. Someone kicked it up. Had a lot of medical occurrences for Bowling Green today. A lot of times Coach Gardner's had to walk out of the field. She's getting her steps in. 0-1 the count from Roth to McKenna Campbell.
With a turf field, that wouldn't be a problem.
I like dirt. I like dirt and grass.
I think it adds an aspect to the game that's kind of needed, in my opinion.
I agree. The game's imperfect. Why would you try and add a perfect playing surface? That would be my argument. Especially turf outfields. Turf outfields.
Yeah, turf outfields are interesting.
Yeah.
I don't like playing. When I played baseball for a little bit, I didn't like playing on turf because you have to. A lot of times you have to have another pair of cleats. You can't usually use the same amount of cleats, especially when you're playing on fields that don't get a lot of maintenance.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a hassle.
Like Addie's contact came out, but she's back on the field already. Yeah, I when I played on turf fields, we had Detroit Catholic Central actually was a rival of ours. They had an all-turf field, and on the infield, if you could chop it, you could hit it 3 feet in front of first base. It was going out of the infield in the air, which is like unplayable, and it kills some of the game. And then also, if you hit a line drive enough, high enough, like double the right, it could bounce over the fence, and you don't have a chance at a triple. It takes certain aspects of the game away. It's just much nicer to have a grass and dirt field. 101 the count. Also, my Little League field didn't have a fence either, so I never hit a home run in my baseball career.
They didn't even have a line that was a home run line?
No, because there's no height to it. Left out in the air to center field. Diving play by Massaro, but she's a little bit short of it. Trying for second. The tag from Hunt. Got her at second base. McKenna Campbell had a single, tried for 2, and she got hosed doing it. So 3 up, 3 down technically for Olivia Roth, although there's a hit in there as well. And the Falcons will head to the bottom of the 5th inning, needing at least 5 runs to continue the game and avoid the run rule. They've got top of the order to do it. Hannah Hunt leading off for Bowling Green. You're listening to BGSU Softball on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Wake up and get going with the music you know and love. Early Bird Oldies broadcasts weekdays from 4 to 6 a.m. and plays all the tunes you remember. Find WBGU on the bottom of the dial at 88.1 FM or streaming worldwide on bgfalconmedia.com. Early Bird Oldies will put a smile on your face and make you tap your feet. And it's only on WBGU, Northwest Ohio's community radio station.
BGSU baseball, that game going on Falcon Radio, streaming at bgfalconmedia.com. The Falcons at the bottom of the 7th inning with 1 out, lead 5-3. TJ Tackett's most recently walked on a wild pitch. McKenzie advanced to third. Cooper McKenzie, I should say. And Gavin Gadon scored from third base on said wild pitch. 5-3 now for the Falcons, who have gone through a couple of pitchers. 4 innings from Luke Krause, 2 from C.J. Boudreau, and 1 from Cade Arnn. Although if you look at Finley's pitchers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pitchers already, all with only 1 inning pitch, no more, no less. So Finley going for the epitome of the bullpen game.
Let them all throw.
Yeah, let them all throw. The entire bullpen gets work today. 1-0 from Chevrier outside.
As far as content related to BGSU softball coming up next couple of days, of course, Kevin Hutchinson will have the recap of these games out tomorrow morning. Preview of Notre Dame as well as Robert Morris will be coming out probably that morning as well, assuming I don't procrastinate that preview written by myself. Then we'll have recap. I believe you're writing the Notre Dame recap tomorrow night. And then, of course, all of the content related to the Robert Morris broadcast recaps will be coming out around that time as well. And then expect the season recap coming out in next week or so?
Something like that,
Something
yeah.
like that,
Don't
yeah.
know exactly. Season's not over yet. But
All that content can be found at bgfalconmedia.com and x.com/bg_FMSN.
also will be your homes for BGSU baseball as they conclude their season with the surely going to make the MAC tournament, but with their goings in the MAC tournament as well as their 2-week longer season than Bowling Green softball. Full count from Chevrier to Hannah Hunt, who leads things off for Bowling Green. The payoff pitch is up high. Hunt will take first base. And again, this is part of the game in the bottom of the 5th inning with a 12-0 Miami lead. Then the Falcons need 5 runs to avoid the run rule and continue their MAC season a couple of innings longer.
Pinch runner Reagan Stephanie going to make her second appearance of the day. Coming in for Hannah Hunt there at first.
I wonder if Stephanie's going to stay in the game and maybe play in the field.
Well, assuming they make it to that inning.
Yeah, and assuming they make it. Stephanie is an outfielder and a second baseman, so that would make sense if the Falcons are able to get a couple of runs in here.
Now batting for Bowling Green, here's third base for number 0.
Addie Martin up, struck out in the first, was hit by pitch in the third, so she's reached base today, but she's 0 for 1.
Martin looking to start another hit streak going. She had an 11-game hit streak going earlier in the year. A couple other separate ones along the way as well.
0-1 pitch down Broadway, but she missed. Fouled it off, an 0-2 count to Addie Martin. Martin struck out once in the first, struck out once in the second game, I should say. Not the innings, the games. This one sliced down the right field line. Is it going to drop in? Oh, a basket catch by Shelby Kunkel out there in right field. Very nice play, ranging over toward the line and toward the fence.
Yeah, great play. Great contact by Addie. Got that one really, and maybe pulled it over a little bit more, maybe 20 feet more.
Yeah.
That would have been hitting the fence.
Yeah.
Good play by Kunkel over there in
Hit
right
it
field.
about, 195 feet?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Kunkel hasn't had a lot of
200
action
foot
over
fence.
there.
No.
Right field today.
Her in the center field especially. Most of the outfield action has been to the pole side.
Yeah.
For Bowling Green. Barrett takes a pitch high. Barrett, Kaufman, McKee with 1 out. Runner on first base off of Hannah Hunt drawing a walk. But it's Reagan Stephanie who ran for her.
Barrett, one of 3 Falcons to earn a hit today, joining Hannah Massaro and Delaney Davis.
Takes a strike on the outside. We've seen a lot of times this year the top and the bottom of the order just not being able to put things together on the same day. And how many box scores can you look at? There's a strike inside. How many box scores can you look at where the bottom of the order did very well, the top just not able to pull their weight, and vice versa as well? One-two pitch. Up and away.
This will be a good outing for Chevrier. 5 shutout innings is always good for the confidence, especially going in towards end of the year. This time she had a scoreless outing, 5 scoreless against Akron, April 15th.
Skips this one only about 3 feet in front of her plant foot and rolls it up to the plate. Luckily, Stephanie didn't have a good enough jump on it. Didn't go on Campbell. Full count, 1 out. Runner on first base. The deal. Ripped in the air. Deep left field. Oh, is under it at the warning track. She'll put it away. 2nd out. BG's down to their last out of conference play this season.
Cameron Kaufman will step up. Reached on an E5 in the first. Popped out to 2nd in the 3rd. 3 hits on the day for the Falcons, 13 for the Redhawks, 1 error each, respective squads.
Kaufman 1 for 3 in the first game. First pitch leaves it over the middle. Chevrier inches away from a very, very good start, especially in a run rule game only having to go 5 innings. 0-1 pitch, catches the corner, strike 2.
Marlon Reeves doesn't get a lot of off games. I'm sure she's Happy about this one. We'll reach over 210 innings, I'm sure, in the Buffalo series this weekend. Big mark for any MAC pitcher to reach that in a season.
Closing in on 200 strikeouts now, especially if she gets good amount of games worth in her 2 starts that you can expect against Buffalo, as insane as that is to say. Miami also chasing the 30-win mark. They're at 27 right now. Could add 28, and they win this game. 1-2 pitch, grounded to the shortstop. Hernandez throws over to first. The play is made. Kaufman is retired, and the final score, 12-0, holds after 5 complete innings and a run rule. Miami run-ruled Bowling Green in the final MAC 2 games of the season for the Falcons. Henry, a pretty good performance, I'd say, in the first game. Not the greatest in the second game. The pitching staff really just didn't do a whole lot in the offense. Not able to get going against Chevrier.
Yeah, it all started with a struggle from Sidney Marshall. Only got through 1 1/3 through 40 pitches. Well, had 6 earned runs on 6 hits and a walk, and 1 strikeout through 11 batters faced. Mackenzie Krafchick came in trying to settle in and allow the team to maybe have an attempt to mount a comeback, but Redhawks didn't let up. 4 earned runs against Krafchick on 5 hits and 2 innings for her, and then Roth came in and allowed 1 earned run. Yeah. 2 of the runs scored by Miami were unearned, and 33 pitches on the day for Roth.
Yeah, the only batter in the Miami order to not get a hit was Holly Merritt. She went 0 for 3 with a strikeout. A couple of players, 3 players, had multi-hit games, including McKenna Campbell, who had a 4-hit game, also had 4 RBIs, and a run scored on her 2-run home run. Kaylee O went 2 for 4, 3 RBIs, and 2 runs scored. She was very productive. And Jen Golembeski, 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs after her 0 for 3 in the first game. Bowling Green not putting either aspect of the game really together in the second game, but in the first game we saw pretty good pitching performances, some decent offense as well, although the Falcon offense has still not really been able to eclipse that 4 or 5 run mark. They've missed that a couple of times this season as they fall down to 7-19 in the MAC and 15-35 overall.
Yeah, that will conclude MAC play for the Falcons in 2025. 7 wins on the year. Ended the season on, I believe it was 11 straight losses now in the MAC. Last win came in with 2 against Western Michigan, an 8-0 shutout, the 4-0 shutout. That was on April 12th. So this team overall played considerably well at Messer Field. That was where they found most of their victories. 5 victories in the MAC. 5 of their 7 came here at Messer Field. 1 came against Buffalo on the road there. 1 came in a 1-0 win against NIU. All things considered, an improvement on last year. And, I think there's a lot of things to build on that Michelle Gardner is really going to try to emphasize in the offseason. We'll see what the roster looks like in 2026, but I think there's reason to be optimistic.
And, you just take a look at MAC play as well. The 2 losses to Buffalo, one of them by 4 runs, one of them by 1 in the 8th inning. Both games essentially lost off of 1 error, which mainly stemmed from Cam Kaufman being injured at the time, and that was the first couple of games that the Falcons were playing out of position. Even just looking through a very good sweep against Kent State. Ball State, you had a pretty tight game in the second game of the doubleheader that they ended up pulling away at the end. A 1-score game against Akron, who's in the playoffs right now. A very good series against Northern Illinois. I apologize that you weren't able to come away with the series win over, but still a 2-score game, 2-0, and NIU beat you 4-0 in the second game. Western Michigan, another good series on a team that's pretty good at falling back recently right now. At Ohio, you had the lead, 5-1 going into the final couple of innings. They came, or 4-1 going into the final couple, and they came all the way back and beat you. Central Michigan, you had a couple of good chances. Toledo, you did as well in extra inning games. So even with the 19 losses in MAC play, a couple of them that very minutely could have gone the other way for Bowling Green, and that's a positive to swing on this entire MAC season for the Falcons as they finish second to last in MAC play.
Yeah, the thing that Gardner's emphasized all year is competing. This team has competed no matter the opponent, no matter circumstance. And the big problem last year was so many run rules, especially in conference play, and we've really not seen a lot this year, although they did have the run rule in this game. They've even, had some games where they've run ruled MAC opponents, 3 run rules against MAC opponents, 1 against Kent State, one against Western, and 1 against another opponent as well. I believe, I can't think off the top of my head, but the only run rules that they've had is losses have been one against OU, one against Akron, and here. So, a lot of good things to build on once again, and a lot of improvements made in that front.
Yeah, now the conference stats are essentially finalized. This one hasn't been put in yet, but Mackenzie Kraftsick and Morgan Beckham hopefully going to stay below the 4 ERA mark, and the 2 games or 2 pitchers with below 4 ERA is something that the Falcons haven't reached in quite a while. That's very impressive, as well as the batting averages as well. Hannah Hunt, Addie Martin, Taylor Barrett, obviously fantastic in conference play. Ava McKee came into some of her own during conference play. She was given her great opportunity during that time. Peyton Steffes was pretty consistent. Kendall Matthews had some shining spots, even just through the Falcon order through conference play. It was pretty good, top to bottom, and a very successful year with a great amount of improvement, although even just in the standings, not too much, only one place different. From last year to this year, still some good stuff to see.
Yeah, even, looking at the power category, which was a big thing, Falcons this year, 26 home runs on the year. They only returned 1 home run from last year with Reagan Williamson, who had, I believe it was 6 or 7 out of the 8 home runs that the team had all year last year. So a front that they improved on a lot was that offense, and also increasing team batting average by around 40 points. And Hannah Hunt, Taylor Barrett, some of these players that had large improvements, and we saw all the things that Addie Martin did this year as a player, and D1 Sophomore National Freshman of the Week earlier in the year, and had a great season overall.
Yeah, just looking forward to the rest of the week for Bowling Green softball. Again, after this is over, you can go to Falcon Radio, streaming on bgfalconmedia.com, to listen to the final 2 innings of the BGSU versus Findlay game going on at Stellar Field right now. Tomorrow's game against Notre Dame in South Bend, they're probably going to get on the bus soon. Tomorrow morning probably. That we will have a recap and a preview available on bgfalconmedia.com. Henry, you're going to have the broadcasts of all 3 Robert Morris games. I'll join you for the Friday game. Unfortunately, can't be there Saturday, but been a pleasure calling with you, man.
Yeah, pleasure calling with you too.
Yeah, for sure. Special thank you to Lucas Kleinmeyer, Tyler Kavlitz, Carl Smith, all of the directors/leaders of the Falcon Media Sports Network. Thank you to Mike Sheehan for dealing with us for most of the season, especially all of the conference season as well. From Nate Hinders, our board operator, Henry Costco to my left, and myself, Ben Korak. We'll talk to you next time on WBGU 88.1 FM.
This broadcast has been a Falcon Media Sports Network production. For more BGSU sports news and updates, follow Falcon Media Sports Network on Twitter X at BG_FMSN, BG Falcon Media on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and head over to BGFalconMedia.com.